All right, folks. Well, excuse the mess. As you know, I'm moving. So um, today, welcome to our master class. We're going to look at manual wheelchairs and power wheelchairs and some different skills that we haven't talked about in this channel. Obviously, I don't have a manual wheelchair at my disposal. So what I'm going to do is post some videos and some pictures so you can see some appropriate ways of moving and sitting. All right, so we're going to look at sitting first. And you see me always, sitting this way. And sometimes I'll lean back because I notice I'm leaning forward. But leaning back is the best thing to do. Why? Because your back will appreciate it. Your back will appreciate it. So don't forget that. We all need to take care of our backs. I know I lean forward in my wheelchair because of pain, so I need to remember to sit back. Now, for manual wheelchairs users, it's important for you to pick up good habits on how to propel yourselves. And that's not easy. I'm going to put some videos up here so you can see the circular motion that the arms need to make in terms of propelling yourself. Some people kind of do this, and that's going to hurt your arms, that's going to hurt your back, that's going to hurt your shoulders more than anything. So you want to do a circular motion. You want to grab a hold of your wheels back here and do a circular motion. Circular motion, as you can see in the video, a circular motion of pushing yourself. So you want to grab the wheel back here, push it forward, and drop your arms a little bit, grab a hold of the back of the wheel, push it forward. So that is going to save you a lot of grief. And you can see the videos there, how the person does that circular motion with their hands and their arms. Reaching something you dropped. Manual wheelchair users are a little bit better at this because our power wheelchairs are much higher. Manual wheelchairs are lower to the ground, and it's possible for you to pick up something. However, this is a little dangerous for you to fall out of the wheelchair, as many of you know. So you want to grab the back of your armrest or the back of your backrest and lean over to pick up whatever it is you dropped. So you want to be holding on to something with your one arm and to pick up the object with the other. However, you can avoid all those maneuvering and use a reacher, which is much easier, much easier on you, on your arms, and on your back. So again, you want to be holding on to something back here when you reach low to pick up something. I don't advise it. I prefer that, people use a reacher, and that will save them a lot of stress on the body. Transfers, I did a video on transferring, but it wasn't very clear. And again, this is a power wheelchair. Manual wheelchairs can be a little bit different. In manual wheelchairs, you can usually take off your armrest or move it aside and be able to transfer over to your bed. Some beds are higher than desirable. Other people, like myself, we have medical beds which can be lowered. You can also use a transfer board. A lot of us have stopped using the board once we have gotten the knack of the transfers. So just look at this video here. It looks pretty simple, but it takes a little practice. And, our arms, for the most part, move out of the way. So you want to check your manual wheelchair and see if you can move your arm rest out of the way. Some manual wheelchair users don't have arm rests at all, so that kind of saves them a little bit. But looking at the video over and over, you'll kind of get the gist of it, and it's a matter of practice. Turning, I didn't get a very good video, but the magic of turning with your manual wheelchair is to hold your wheel on one side and go either forward or backward with the other wheel, and then you will turn in the direction you want to. The other way is to put your arms this way on your wheels and turn them in opposite directions, and that will turn you in whatever direction you want to go in. So you want to grab both wheels, turn, or turn in the other direction. So that is the way to turn in a manual wheelchair. I won't teach the wheelie because it is a special technique. It requires some shifting of your weight to get the front wheels up and to hold them or to get them on the next part of where you're going. And I would prefer you do it with someone else behind you in case you go too far. I would ask that you do it with your therapist. Your therapist can also teach you how to do wheelies the next time you see her or him. All right, we're going to go into power wheelchairs now. And we've talked, there's a whole class on skills for power wheelchair users. And so we're going to talk about some other skills, some other knowledge for power wheelchair users. And these are details that are really important. So different types of power wheelchairs, and sometimes people don't know. There's two different classes. One is the regular power wheelchair, which is the one I use, the Jazzy Select 6 and other series. They don't do anything special. They just have a joystick. They go forward, they go backwards, they turn around. That's it. But then there are the specialized power wheelchairs, which are called the complex power wheelchairs, which are for those who qualify if they have the diagnosis necessary. Those have a lot of moving parts. You can raise your legs, you can lay back, completely back, and there's all kinds of movements, shifting of the chair that the power wheelchair can do if you need to shift your weight. So those are two classes, the regular power wheelchair and the complex power wheelchair. Then it's divided into mid-wheel, front wheel, and rear wheel. Now I use mid-wheel because it's just fantastic. It is. It's helped me a lot. In mid-wheel, obviously, it's in the middle, right underneath the seat, and it can turn on its axis. Front wheel and back wheel, it just gives the power wheelchair more strength in that area. And turning is a little bit different. If you have a front wheel, your back is going to swing around. If you have a rear wheel, then your front is going to swing around when you turn. And so if you have a rear wheel, then your strength is behind you. If you have a front wheel, your strength of the wheelchair is in front. So, because that's where the motors are located. So important to kind of remember those things. Joystick controls, folks, there's not just one. You just don't have joysticks. You can request a different type of joystick, to adjust to your needs. So if you can't handle the joystick very well, there are other styles of joysticks that you can request and try those. So, it requires some changing, of course, but if it's going to help you, why not? So different types of joysticks. There's some taller ones, there's some higher ones. So you have to kind of look at what's going to help you the most. And my screen is jumping around here already. Batteries. As we know, batteries there's two different types for our wheelchairs. We've talked about charging always overnight, or if you are awake all night long, then charge it during the day when you're sleeping, and extending the battery life. And we've talked about that, to have a routine so that that battery is ready for when you are in your active hours. In understanding tilt, recline, leg elevation, and seat elevator functions, that is for the complex power wheelchairs. And I will see if I can have some videos here, some short videos up above, so that you can watch those during this tilt, recline, leg elevation, and seat elevator functions. Now, the seat elevator functions have been added to the simple power wheelchair class, to class 2. So that is, you could say, a victory we had with Medicare recently, about a year ago. So if you are in need of elevation in your wheelchair, that is something you need to consider for your next wheelchair or for your new wheelchair. So elevation, really helpful. Where did I go here? Okay, here we are. So your joystick, no matter what shape it has, if it's tall, if it's small, if it's, handle type, you need to practice with that joystick so you can get a handle on, turning and going forward, going backwards. And backwards is an important technique. Even though you feel a little scared, it's important to practice. And I told my story about how I get into and out of, tight vans and tight buses. So I have no fear of doing that. And I just go ahead and I do it because I've practiced a lot in doing precisely that. After the joysticks, we've talked about navigating in tight spaces and how important it is to practice that, either with cones or, 2 chairs between, so you can learn the wideness of your wheelchair and what areas will you fit through and not fit through. In the dining room, I have to be very skilled to get through all the chairs and the tables. So I've learned to feel the wideness of my chair, and I know where I'm going to fit, so I don't drag somebody with me. That'd be kind of funny to do, but no, I won't do that. So it's important to practice, because you're going to run into narrow doors and tight corners where you have to turn. So really important to learn the wideness of your chair. And most simplified power wheelchairs, they're made for that. They're made for small spaces. The complex power wheelchairs are a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, because of all the mechanics they have to deal with. But also, if you have a complex power wheelchair, it's going to be important for you to learn how to maneuver those spaces. Really, really important to know how many degrees your power wheelchair can go uphill or can go downhill, because there is a limit. Some power wheelchairs can do 6 degrees, some can do 10, some can do 12. So good to look at your manual to see what the max is. You don't want to go uphill that is too inclined and for your wheelchair to tip over. Those are some things that you have to learn about inclines and declines. Now, on declines, when you're going down, the wheelchair automatically is going to slow down. So it's not something you can change the speed. And we've talked about this before. So going downward, the wheelchair is going to slow down due to safety. So learn the degrees that your wheelchair can handle. Overcoming obstacles is really important, folks. I can't tell you how much, like cracks or, the transitions on carpets. I recommend that you go slow because otherwise it's going to rattle your teeth right out your mouth. Really important to practice. So go over them slowly so that you don't knock, injure yourself or break the wheelchair or tip the wheelchair over. So you see a significant crack or you see a bump that you have to go over, make sure that, you go slowly and go forward. Don't go at an angle, just go forward. On those transitions on carpets, they're very annoying, but really important to go slow. And you'll get over it fine. I want to talk a moment about attachments. If you're in the market of getting a new wheelchair, it might be important for you to think ahead of time what kind of attachment is important for you. The most important. Is it a little charge bank? Is it lights on your wheelchair? Would it be a cup holder? Would it be, a little pouch to hold things? Kind of make a list of things that are really important. Usually when you're purchasing a power wheelchair, they'll give you 3 things for $3 or 2, but usually 3. So you kind of want to think, what's the most important thing, the most expensive thing to get? Now, I purchased my add-ons later. I got a cup holder later, and what else did I get? I got a pouch later that I attached to the side. So I got a few things later. I got a cushion that I really needed because my spine is really hypersensitive. So in these seats from this series are not the greatest. So I have a cushion and a variety of cushions that I use. So think about those accessories that might be really, really useful for you, that can get you out of a pinch, that can help you on a daily basis. Those kind of things. I didn't ask for a cup holder. I added it later, realizing that I had to take my dishes over to the counter, and the glass was always a challenge for me to put on the plate and then not knock it over. So I got a cup holder, and that saved me a lot. So it's those things that you want to think about. What will be helpful for you on a daily basis? Transporting your power wheelchair is really important, and for manual wheelchairs as well. There is one area, now they're going to use belts to kind of hook on to your power wheelchair or to your manual wheelchair. You don't want them to miss your front casters because those casters are not locked. Your back casters aren't locked either. So it's really important for them to lock those in, with the belt. Because when the bus or the van moves to the right or to the left, you're going to swing. And you don't want that. That's pretty scary, knowing that you can't fix it. So make sure that they lock in those casters, especially. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. And if I can find the sample that I made, I'll post it. But really important, if you're going to transport your power wheelchair to always put instructions, really clear instructions, nothing complicated, nothing fancy, just really clear instructions on how to operate your power wheelchair. And that way, they won't be fiddling around or trying to do things that they shouldn't be doing with your power wheelchair. So instructions, have instructions on the back pouch. Keep that pouch clear. Just put your instructions in there. And that way they can take a look and they'll see the pictures. Have them by pictures because you don't know what language all these technicians and assistant people speak. So pictures are always important. Okay, I'm going to start wrapping it up here with some important reminders for manual wheelchairs and power wheelchairs is rights, advocacy, and resources. This is really important to know, and these are gentle reminders. So understanding accessibility laws, I don't expect anyone to understand them. Some of the laws can be a little complicated, but know that in general, the ADA covers us in many circumstances. Advocate for yourself. Just know that the airport is not ADA. The rules and regulations that govern us is the ACAA and the FAA. So those are two organizations that cover us in regards to our rights and our responsibilities. In hotels and apartments, it's the ADA. On the road, it would be the ADA. In municipality, Department of Transportation covers us also. Keep in mind that there are useful apps out there, and in the description box, I will reiterate some useful apps that I have used, in websites and organizations for accessible travel. There are some great apps that I have used if I'm going to a restaurant, I'm going to an agency, or I'm going to a park, I'll check on this app to see if it is accessible and what comments people have put in there. So that's really important to me anyway. When you travel, when you're going to another state or you're going to another country, you're crossing our border or your border, whatever border that might be. Travel insurance considerations for wheelchair users will be important, whether you want to cover your wheelchair, whether you want to cover your health, or both. Really, really important. I know that it's a cost, it's an extra cost, but it's a safety measure that can get you out of a pickle, big pickle. So really, really important. So consider travel insurance, use of apps and websites, advocating for your needs through the ACAA and the FAA and the ADA. So remember those initials. I know they're complicated, but that's why I always add the captions so that you can see it clearly on there in case I don't get a chance to put it all over the screen. But those are important things to know in regards to your rights and your responsibilities. At the end of this video, I will also add some rights that you have as a wheelchair user, as someone with a disability. And that will be important to keep in mind, keep in your heart more than anything else, because these rights that we have are universal. Many countries don't have rules and regulations, but human respect and human dignity crosses borders no matter where you are. So I want to remind you of that, to not despair and talk about human rights, which we should all be looking at, no matter where we live. All right, folks, let's wrap it up. Don't forget to give us a like, to subscribe, to join us in this everyday adventure. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we have the master classes. Check in on us, see how we're doing, check the master class, and see if that's something that would help you in your use of manual wheelchairs. And that's what this channel is all about, resources. Resources to the max, wherever I can find, details that will help you and me. That's what I want to post. And that's what this channel is about. So hopefully I will see you all soon, and be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you in the next one.